Hello and welcome to another tutorial coming to you from Still Life Motion Vid. Now today is a tutorial that's going to show you how to create that bloom transition solely within Final Cut Pro. So if you don't know what this transition looks like, this is what it looks like. All right, let's get to it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create the brightness element of the transition. So much like an earlier tutorial that I've got up here, we're going to create a custom transition using the brightness and contrast image control effect. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to come up to effects. We're going to open up the video filters drop down. We're going to go to image control and we're going to select brightness and contrast and drag that onto our first clip. And while we're there, we may as well drag it onto our second clip too. So double click your first clip, come up to filters, and then what we want to do is we want to come to the last frame of our first clip. So we can see that our last frame is here. We're going to create just a keyframe on the brightness slider, and then we're going to go back 8 frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to create another keyframe. So once you've got your 2 keyframes, go to the last keyframe you created, and we're going to drag that all the way up to 100. So once we've got that, we're going to double click our second clip, and we're going to come to our filters, and we're going to go to our first frame of our clip, and while we're there, we're going to drag that up to 100, and then we're going to go 8 frames forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to create another keyframe, and we're going to have that be at 0. So at the moment, this is what it looks like. Not too bad, but not great. So once we've got that sorted, that's all good. And we're gonna now create the blur element to our bloom. So this is the exact same step. We're gonna come to video filters, blur, and we're gonna drag Gaussian blur onto both of our clips at the same time. So we're going to click our first clip and we're just going to match the frames. So there's an easy way to make sure that we're on the keyframes, and using the little arrows next to the green keyframe creator button. Yeah, that way you can make sure that you're on the frame where the keyframe is. So once you're on the first keyframe, we're going to create a keyframe on our Gaussian blur filter, and we're going to make sure that's 0. Final Cut Pro automatically has the radius of the blurs too every single time you add it, so you've got to make sure that is that you make that 0. So we're going to come forward to our next frame, and we're going to create a new keyframe, and we're going to just drag that all the way up to 100, and you can see the effect that we're getting here. So we're going to double click our second clip now, and we're going to go to the first frame of that, and we're going to hit the first create a keyframe on the first frame, and we're going to drag that all the way up to 100. We're going to come 8 frames forward, create a new keyframe, and make sure that radius is 0 now. So that's once we render that out. So let's have a look at what we've got now. So that's pretty good. You might say that the brightness is actually a little bit too intense, so you can just adjust that by coming to the first frame. Let's say we make that 80. That could be a bit better. We'll make it 80 on the second clip as well. Let's render that out and have a look. And we'll hit play. That's pretty cool. All right, the last step of the puzzle is just creating a small cross dissolve. If you don't know the shortcut for that, it's Command T. I'm just going to create a nice short cross dissolve there, render that out, and let's have a watch. That's pretty nice. So you might want to extend that transition out, and you simply do that by moving your keyframes back however long you want to, and make sure you do it on both clips, because if it's really quick on one clip and slow on the other clip, it's going to look a bit funny, although you might have a reason to do it. But other than that, yeah, that's a really simple way to make this bloom transition. Thanks for watching. Be sure to post any tutorial questions you have in the comments below, and love you to hit subscribe. See you later.